The 2021 NBA Draft is looking like it has a chance to be one of the best of the last decade. The top three of Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green, and Evan Mobley are all expected to become stars in the NBA. There's also players right outside the top five who are also expected to become really good, such as Scotty Barnes, Jalen Suggs, Josh Giddey. Those guys have gotten off to some promising starts and look like they have bright futures. But what about some guys that are flying under the radar right now? Some rookies that you have not been hearing about that may not even be playing in the NBA right now. Here are four NBA rookies flying under the radar, currently balling out in the G League. And first up on this list is Josh Primo, the 12th overall pick by the San Antonio Spurs, which was a huge surprise on draft night. A lot of people expected Primo to go late first, early second, but the Spurs took him with the lottery pick, and he is the youngest player in the NBA right now. He was just 17 years old when he was playing in college, and his stats aren't super impressive when you look at them in college, but the scoring potential is clearly there. Guard with good size, good length, and can really shoot the ball. Shot 38% from three in college, and in the Summer League and in the G League, he's been getting more on-ball reps. He's already a good catch-and-shoot player offensively, and he's getting a real opportunity down in the G League to expand his game, getting a lot more on-ball reps, which I think is really good because in the future, him and DeJounte Murray could form a really nice two-way backcourt. Primo has potential as a defender, and DeJounte Murray's already an all-defensive type of player. Primo, good long arms, gets a good amount of steals, has to get stronger, and that mix of offense and defense with him and Murray could potentially be scary in San Antonio for years to come. But the shooting is there, and he's starting to expand his offensive game more off the dribble, and he's just so young. It may have been a reach, but he's shown in the G League those flashes why the Spurs were, so impressed with him pre-draft. The next player on this list is Delano Banson. Banson is a 6'9" point guard for the Toronto Raptors. He was picked in the second round coming out of Nebraska. And people say this a lot about, big guys who have, guard skills. But this dude is legitimately a 6'9" point guard. Banson was expected to be down in the G League with Raptors 905, as the Raptors do have a really good history of developing players down there, but he's been making plays in the NBA, at times getting some real rotation minutes with the Toronto Raptors squad that has pretty solid depth, and he has only played one G League game, which was against the Westchester Knicks, and he did put up 30 points in that one. It's going to be really interesting to see throughout the year, will he stay in the NBA or be sent down to the G League, and how much run he will get in both the G League and the NBA. He was, as I'm recording this, just called back down to the G League. It's going to be really interesting to see if he can find consistency. And while he's with Raptors 905, he's going to be in a similar role to a guy like Giannis. He's going to be like a jumbo creator who is going to be driving to the cup a lot and then passing it out. But this guy is a really good passer, and the defensive potential is really what's exciting a lot of people. Those long arms. If he can get a little stronger, he could be a super versatile defender. He's quick enough to be with some guards. Not all guards, but he's quick enough to be with some guards. And the Raptors are hoping he will be strong enough to stay with forwards too. Right now, he's not fully ready. Has looked more ready than most people thought, but it's going to take time, as it does for almost any second round pick. A lot of them never get there, but Banson, I think he has a chance to be a good offensive player. I don't think he'll ever develop like a crazy jump shot or whatever, he might be a decent offensive player around like 12 points a game or something. But if he can average like 10, 6 rebounds, 3 assists or whatever, and give really good defense, Toronto might have 2-point forwards in their future with him and Scotty Barnes. That's looking like a really interesting draft haul the Raptors got. And Banton is definitely a player you have to keep your eye on. He has a very unique skill set, and the Raptors might have found a diamond in the rough there. And speaking of defense, if you like defense, you're going to really like this next guy. Miles McBride, Knicks second round pick out of West Virginia. And this guy was one of the best defenders in the country at a school that always brings elite defensive effort in West Virginia. They do have the nickname Press Virginia, but this guy is just ruthless. He never backs off. And while being an elite defender at the college level, he also, over his time with the Mountaineers, developed a promising offensive game. In his last year with West Virginia, his three-point shot really came along, which was the big question with him as a legitimate NBA prospect. And he's definitely an inconsistent scorer right now. He had some games in the Summer League where he barely hit any shots, and towards the end of Summer League, he had some where he couldn't miss a shot, as there you see him finishing on Delano Banson. This guy is a great defender already, and he's hit some really tough shots in his career. He already is an established player on one side of the ball, and you got to think in the future Tom Thibodeau is just going to love this guy. He is just, he's ruthless, like I said, and the offensive game is developing in the G League, just like the perfect player, I think, that fits the NBA G League. He can help the Knicks on one side of the ball, but here down in the G League, he can really get a chance to develop his offensive game, get a lot of reps. He's pretty much the number one option on their team, and it's been paying off so far. He's been playing a few G League games so far, and he's averaging 28 points and 7 assists. And like we said, we all know about his defense. He's also sneaky athletic, dunked on Cade Cunningham in his college career, and played some great defense on him in that game as well. But athletic guard, 6'4", 6'2", around that range, I believe. Really, really aggressive perimeter defender that can get hot and hit shots at times. 3-point shot, still developing to be consistent, but he's a very good mid-range shooter, decent finisher, and as that offense is developing in the G League, him and Emmanuel Quickley could be a really exciting young guard duo in New York. Miles McBride just seems like a player that Tom Thibodeau would love for the future, and it's going to be really interesting to see if he can get a real opportunity from the Knicks. Now, the last player on this list is almost definitely the most naturally gifted player on this list, and that is Brandon Boston Jr. Went to Kentucky and was drafted in the late second round by the Clippers, which, is really surprising. He went into that college season, his freshman year at Kentucky, and he was projected as a top 10, top 5 pick, even as high as top 3 by ESPN. And Boston Jr., all the offensive potential is there. He's got every move in the bag to score the ball. The problem with him is it didn't go in a lot at Kentucky. He isn't that strong yet. He has questionable shot selection, but the shooting potential is there. And what really excited the Clippers in the scouting process is his scoring potential, because just the variety of moves he has to get to his spots are really impressive. His problem is he's got to know when to take the right shots, and when he gets to those spots, not force it if it isn't there. But he's a really creative offensive player. On the defensive end, he struggled a lot. Very skinny, very small frame right now, and I think he's got to get in the weight room, and the G League is a perfect place for him to keep developing his offensive game and take that leap from a scorer to an actually efficient scorer. Because he can score right now on a lot of shots, but he's just got to be able to do that at a more efficient rate, and he is still very young. Did have, some stuff going on in his personal life during his freshman year. Obviously, the death of Terrence Clark. He was in the car behind him, I believe. But back to him as a player, man. He's got so many moves. He's got a good-looking jumper. And in the G League, I think really with Boston Jr., people didn't realize that he wasn't as close to being ready as they thought. But down in the G League, those reps are going to be key, and I really do think he could turn into a potential 20-point per game scorer. There's a reason he was a 5-star recruit, and going into this season, he was projected as a top 10 pick, almost definitely was seen as a lock to go in the lottery, and there's a reason for that.